This will be a short and sweet all-around practice, not too long, hopefully, and just get some good, cover some good bases, get some good movement into our bodies, and be ready to go on with the rest of our day. So get yourself seated in a position that is comfortable for you, some way that you can sit upright. You could be in a chair, on the ground. Let your eyes close for a moment, let your jaw relax. Gently shift your shoulders slightly back. You can leave your hands on the lap, or you can bring your hands together at the heart. And we'll chant the sound Om and the invocation to Sri Patanjali. Om. Yogena Chittasya Padena Vacham Malam Sharirasya Cha Vaidyakena Yopa Karotam Pravaram Muninam Patanjalim Pranjalyaranatosmi Abahu Purushakaram Shankachakra Siddhardirnam Sahasra Shirasam Shvetam Pranamami Patanjalim. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And release the hands. Open your eyes. And we'll start off in downward facing dog. Spread your fingers. Give yourself a good foundation on the mat. Turn your toes under. Draw the abdomen just slightly in for some support. And lift the knees up, and for starters, lift the heels, have the knees very bent, heels super lifted, and press through your arms. Let the armpits get a little longer, let the neck lengthen. Turn the biceps slightly up. Draw the navel a little bit in, and lift the thigh bones from the knees toward the pelvis direction, so the hips get a little higher and lighter, and you can stay here, knees bent, hips high, or you can start to press the shins and thighs back so the legs straighten, and resist the heels down. So the hips lift, the shins lift, the knees lift, femurs lift, heels stretch down. Reach the roof of the mouth toward the crown of the head so the neck is long but not dropped. And then walk your hands and feet toward one another. Feet about hip width apart. Uttanasana, standing forward bend. Let the back of the neck lengthen. Keep the shoulders a bit away from the ears so they aren't crowding you. Of course, you can keep the knees bent if that feels necessary or more accommodating. And then bring your hands to your outer hips. Make the legs strong. Start to extend your chest forward and push through the legs. Lift through the chest and come all the way up to standing. And be standing in Tadasana with the arms long at your sides. Just gently extend down from the shoulders toward the fingertips and just slightly move the hands and arms a smidge back. And we'll do some half sun salutations. From standing, inhale, raise your arms up and reach up. exhale, dive forward, Uttanasana. Again, you can bend the knees, of course. Inhale, partway up, Urdhva Mukha Uttanasana. Extend the chest, lift the kneecaps. Exhale, draw back down and in. Inhale, rise up all the way up to standing. Exhale, hands at your heart. And keep going through the sequence 4 more times. Go at your own tempo. So that you make time to feel the organic speed of your breath and the organic speed of your body today. Finish the cycle that you're in and go one more time through the sequence. And whenever you've completed your sun salutations, be standing steady in Tadasana. And then release. And we'll do some standing poses. We'll start with warrior number 1, Virabhadrasana. Step the feet wide apart on your sticky mat and turn the right toes out and turn the left toes quite a bit in so you can face the narrow end of your sticky mat. Inhale, raise your arms up, and exhale, bend in the right knee. And reach back through the back leg so it has a nice, clean, steady source of energy moving through it. Draw the abdomen slightly in and lift up, especially through the left arm. See if you can lift the back ribs a little bit up. Use the arms to help lift the rib cage up out of the low back. And then push the legs, lift through the arms. Inhale, come up. Release the arms. Turn the right toes in, left toes out, and turn again to face the narrow end of your sticky mat. Inhale, raise your arms up, reach up. Give yourself a good lift, and as you exhale, you start to bend in the left knee. The torso lowers, the pelvis lowers, but keep a hold of that sense of lift that you're getting through the arms so that the lowering down into the pose doesn't feel like a fall or a sinking. Press through the back leg, lift the abdomen a little bit in and up. And again, use the arms and feel you're just helping to lighten the weight of the ribs so the rib cage isn't landing heavily in the abdomen or the waistline. Lift the side ribs, lift the back ribs. And then straighten left leg, release the arms, turn the left toes forward, and step, step the feet together, be in Tadasana. Arms long at your sides, shoulders just slightly back, arms just slightly back. Take the bony little tip of your elbows and suck the elbow tips in. Turn the biceps just slightly away to help again create more width across the chest. And reach up through the roof of the mouth so there's an internal feeling of length and extension. And then warrior number 2. Release and step the feet wide apart. We're going to come into the pose slightly unconventional arm position. So turn your right toes out, left toes in.
And inhale your arms straight up. This time the torso is facing the long end of the mat, but raise the arms up like warrior one. So you get some of that lift. You can really feel your rib cage rising, being a little bit less heavy. Take a full breath in, bend in the right knee, and see if you can keep that lift and slowly lower the arms out. You may find it nice to keep the palms up, or you can do more classical palms down. And turn your gaze to face out over the right fingertips. Keep the back leg strong and keep that sense of really lifting the ribs. Back ribs, side ribs, lengthening up through the roof of the mouth. And then straighten the right leg, release the arms, turn the right toes in and the left toes out. And we'll do the same pose, second side, that same entry. So first, raise your arms up, give yourself a big lift, take full breath in and exhale as you bend in the left knee. And then slowly extend your arms out wide. You can keep the palms up if you like how that feels. You can turn the palms down. Turn your gaze to look out over the left hand. Lengthen up through the roof of the mouth so the neck stays long. Just gently press the shoulders down and toward the fingertips. Keep track of this sense of lifting the ribs so that there isn't an excess of compression in the back of the waist and the lumbar spine. The abdomen gently in. Keep some life in the fingertips so they don't start to fade or wane. And then press through the left leg, release the arms, turn the left toes in. We'll do Prasarita Padottanasana, wide-legged forward bend. You can keep the legs wide like this, or you can adjust a little. You can shimmy your heels and toes until you have a nice width that you like for Prasarita. Start with your hands on your hips. Inhale, lift the chest, move the shoulders back. Now lift the chin even so you're really getting a nice sense of length across the whole front of the torso and start to hinge forward. And you can bring your hands to your shins, or to your blocks, or to the floor. Move the shoulders back away from the ears. Lengthen the roof of the mouth to the crown of the head. Keep the legs strong. Keep lifting the kneecaps. And you can stay here, long arms, long legs, long spine. This is a nice place to integrate the limbs and the back all together. If you feel up for it, interested, you can start to walk your hands or your blocks back in line with the feet. Search the chest forward. And then you can start to bend the elbows and bring the head down to a block or toward the floor or perhaps to the floor. Keep working the kneecaps, shins up, shoulder blades away from the ears, and the roof of the mouth toward the crown of the head. And then straighten the arms if you bent them. And we'll come up out of the pose. If you need to be a little bit more gentle with yourself today, you can bend the knees. Or if you're feeling strong, you can keep legs straight. Bring your hands to your hips. Push through the feet. Lift the chest. And then step the feet together. And we'll do warrior number 3, Virabhadrasana. And this time I'll show some variations as we do it. I'll just talk you through it. There's always so many ways. Warrior 3 is a hard pose, but we can always modify it so that we can find a challenge level that feels exciting and gratifying and not self-defeating. So face the narrow end of your mat. Right foot forward, left leg back. Inhale, raise your arms up. Even if you aren't intending to do the pose with your arms outstretched overhead, it's a great first step because it does, again, help lift the ribs up out of the back, out of the waist. Make the back leg really strong, your left leg. Push to the left leg. Bend in the right knee. And start to come up onto the ball of the left foot and hinge yourself forward. Hop the back foot a little closer. And now you can keep the arms overhead. You can bring arms out wide like a T, or arms back alongside you like Tadasana. Push into the right leg and lift yourself up to balancing. And you can stay more upright, or if you're able and willing, you can extend yourself out until you're parallel to the floor. Both legs strong and straight. And then bend the right knee, touch the left toes back down behind you, and come up, and then release, and turn to face the other way. Inhale, raise your arms up, give yourself a good pull, so you're lifting the ribs up out of the waistline. Draw the belly a little bit in, bend the left knee. Start to hinge forward, and now you can keep the arms reaching overhead. You can do arms out wide like an airplane, or back behind, alongside you, slightly behind you, like Tadasana. Hop on the right foot, come a little closer, so all the weight is in your left leg, but your toes are touching down. This is actually a nice place to stay. You can stay here, build some strength, you can feel it. Or you can press and straighten the left leg. And then you can start to hinge and be increasingly horizontal, increasingly parallel to the floor. Strong arms, strong legs. Keep the belly just gently in so it's not a forgotten zone muscularly or consciously. And then bend the left knee, touch the right toes down, hop them a little further back. Come up and release. Step the feet together and come to downward facing dog. And then from downward dog, we'll come forward into plank position. So pull your chest forward. If plank on your wrists and on your toes feels too intense, you can lower the knees, a great version. If it's too much on the wrists, you can also do it on your forearms. Push into the floor with your arms. Draw the navel in. Bring the pubic bone toward the navel. Turn the biceps a little bit away from each other. Push with the arms. Imagine, use the friction of the hands on your sticky mat, sort of pull the mat apart. Good, clean fun. Gotta love some time well spent in plank. Push the balls of the feet into the ground, so the knees, legs firm. Good, and then release. Child's pose. Bring the knees to the ground, a little bit apart. Sit back on your heels. Cross your forearms one on top of the other and rest your forehead on your forearms. Let your breath soften. Let the head relax. Good, and then gently bring yourself up. And find your way onto your abdomen for a little Shalabhasana. Locust pose. We'll do it 3 times. I'll cue the lifting of the legs, but if you want or need to make it a little bit more gentle or less if you don't feel like engaging with the low back today, you can keep the feet pressing down and work the upper back, chest instead. Or rather, exclusively. So come down onto your tummy, bring your forehead to the floor, and turn your toes under so the soles of the toe tips are on the floor and the soles of the feet face back. Extend your arms back alongside you, palms facing down or palms facing each other. And then press the toes into the ground so the shins come off the floor, the knees come off the floor, and even the lower part of the femur close to the knee comes off the floor. That's what a nice, strong, straight leg feels like. Now you don't need to lift or bend the knee, just one leg at a time. Point your right toes, point your left toes. So the legs are strong, firm, just off the ground, straight. Now, press your shoulders away from the floor. Lift your chest and head, and then lift the arms. Pull the shoulders toward the fingertips. Pull the hamstrings toward the sitting bones. Reach to the roof of the mouth, to the crown of the head. And then release. And rest. Shavasana is perhaps not the world's most popular pose, but very beneficial, good for all of us. Okay, here we go. Second time. Arms back alongside you, turn your toes under, press the toe tips into the floor, firm the shins, knees, point the feet one at a time. Legs are low, strong, straight. Press the shoulders away from the floor, lift the head and chest, lift the arms. The palms face the floor, or they face one another. You can even see, can you pull a little more with the arms the second time? Get a little more lift. And then release down. Turn your head the opposite direction this time. And then we'll do one last time. Hands back alongside you. Turn the toe tips under. Push the toes on the floor. Nice firm legs. Point the feet. Shoulders away from the floor. Lift the head and chest. Lift the hands. If you want this time, if you can, and if you want, you can interlace your hands behind your back and give yourself a little pull for extra lift and boost into the chest. And then see if you can keep that lift and release the arms back alongside you. And then release. And then just a little bit, sort of shift your pelvis side to side. Just rock out any stickiness in the pelvis, low back. And then gently press yourself up. And come around onto your back. You might like to have a block or something handy. We're going to do a reclining twist, and sometimes it's nice to support the legs. And also, it might be nice to have a little folded blanket behind the back of your head. Nothing too high or too assertive, but just something that helps you elongate the nape of the neck and soften the pit of the throat. And then bend both knees. Use your hands or your forearms to hold the shins and draw the knees in towards you. And then using the strength of the arms, you can actually pull the knees a little bit more towards you so the pelvis lifts a little, maybe the sacrum or tailbone comes a little off the floor. And then release. And then try that again. Use the hands, pull the skin of the shins toward the kneecaps. See if you can scrunch a little tighter. And then release. And now extend your arms out wide, palms up. And this time, arms free. Tuck the knees in towards your chest. And then again, without using the arms, see if you can pull the skin on your shins toward the knees and lift the tailbone a little bit. And then release. This uses the abdominal muscles. One more time. Pull the skin on the shins from the ankles toward the knees. See if you can lift the weight of the pelvis a little bit off the floor. And then release. Bring your feet to the floor and scoot your hips a little bit to the right. And now this is when you might want your block or bolster, place it over on your left. Draw the knees in towards your chest and give yourself that little tuck so the knees come a little closer to you. And bring the legs over to the left as you turn your torso to the right. And it's nice to support the legs. Some of you will find that your legs come easily to the floor. Some of you will want a little bit more support for the legs. Draw the navel in and have that feeling of just gently tucking the knees in. So the momentum of the skin on the shins is toward the knees. Even though the legs stop moving, they reach their natural limit. The feeling is one of drawing the skin of the shins toward the knees. The shin bones from the ankles toward the knees. Good, and then release. Bring the knees back to the center and then set your feet down. Adjust your pelvis to the center. Small, gentle adjustments. Adjust your pelvis to the left. And whatever support, if you're using support for your legs, move it over to the right. Arms out wide, draw the knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a little scrunch, and then bring both knees over to the right as you turn your rib cage, counter turn your rib cage to the left. See if you can keep the left shoulder or shoulder blade nicely, stably, soothingly in contact with the ground. So if your knees are closer and closer to the floor, but the left shoulder is off the ground, put more height and support under your knees and shins so the shoulder can stay down. And that is the sort of point away from which the body is twisting. Pull the shin bones toward the knee direction. You can even take that top thigh, the left thigh, and move the femur from the hip toward the knee. And take the bottom thigh, the right thigh in this case, and pull the femur from the knee toward the pelvis. Helps you get a little bit deeper rotation. And then come back to the center. Bring your feet down to the floor. Adjust your pelvis so it's in a nice neutral position and draw the knees in toward your chest, and again use your hands or your arms and hug the knees. Sometimes it's even nice to bring your forehead up to your knees. You can rock a little and then release and set yourself out for Shavasana. Extend one leg at a time. Turn the palms up. Just for a moment, press the shoulders gently toward the floor so there's some space and support behind the sternum, behind the heart. Let the jaw relax. Let the skin on the face soften, especially between the eyebrows, and be in Shavasana. time to stay longer in Shavasana, please do that for yourself. Otherwise, you can gently bring your awareness to your breath. And bend your arms one at a time. Let your hands rest on your chest or your abdomen. Bend your legs one at a time. Come to your side. And then press yourself up. And with 3 rounds of Om. Thank you for practicing, taking good care of yourself. Hope you have a nice rest of your day.